Now we Gucci.
All right, better. Just want to say what's up. You know what I mean? Congratulations, not only on this project, but everything that at least I feel like the public has been able to see you be a part of over the last few years. Years ago, when I used to come to New York more often, it's like you were like the only other black dude that I would ever see in the Pentas. For me, I was like, okay, you know what I mean? Because at first I was scared. I'm like, I don't know if these track pants gonna fit me. Then I saw you rocking. I'm like, okay, it's hope. And just that energy of seeing someone like-minded, you know what I mean, in a different space. Because obviously I'm from Chicago, so you know it's another avenue. You know what I mean? As I see it, of like, you know, just celebrating our blackness. You know what I mean? Our identity, and especially as that relates to us being in America. I feel like that take on it is very pertinent, you know what I mean, to the entirety of the story. And I feel like you've done an ill job distributing that energy through product that we can enjoy. That's wavy, first off.
Thanks, man. I mean, I'm happy it's getting viewed in that way, because that's what I want to do and been doing, is just like putting things that exist already and using the product as a bridge to like information about ourselves and other things, you know, us as a community, black people, especially with Denim Tears, you know, that's pretty much the whole, the idea of Denim Tears is to celebrate the things we've been through and the things we've done. And, you know, that's what I'm doing with Denim Tears right now. So I'm happy that that's what's being perceived, because that's exactly what I'm trying to put out, you know?
No, 100%.
I feel like I kind of like Denim Tears for me is like supreme for black people.
Mm-hmm. No, 1,000%.
And also anyone else who wants to celebrate or commemorate what we've been through, whether it's slavery, you know, whether it's, you know, any of the subject matters that I'm you know, talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can celebrate it, but it's for black people, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. And I like that take on it being like supreme for black people, because it's also like with Supreme, you know what I mean? One of the things that me and my buddy talk about all the time is like how when we were younger, we were put on to so many things, you know what I mean, by Supreme. And it's like Supreme kind of like maybe put us onto some stuff or gave us a deeper look into something that we kind of knew about. I mean, and now all of that has stuck with us. You know, it has become more of our identity. It's more, it's part of our collective interest now. I mean, I feel like, you know what I mean, your work is in that same vein.
Yeah, like, you know, using T-shirts as billboards for knowledge, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And billboards for expression, and, you know, so that's why I've seen people, and I can't judge it, but I've seen people wearing, you know, I don't know, wearing a Denim Tears hat with the cotton reef on it, even if they don't fuck with it or understand with it, they might just buy it because they see me hang out with a famous person, or they might buy it because they think I've dressed cool, or they think it's cool. And they might not understand the history behind it. There's still a billboard for my black people, propaganda for black people, you know? And that's still 100%. A win for me, you know?
100%, you know what I mean?
And also a win because, you know, a big part of my business is charity too. So, you know, I've done numerous projects where, you know, I'm raising awareness and raising funds for charities, and all that funds it, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
My bills being paid means I can help other people's bills get paid, or people get bail, or women be able to give birth to kids and stuff like that, and safely with the right care. I want to help every mother's count. So, yeah, so it's good. It's good. It's fun. And also another thing is, like, I love Supreme, and it's like, but I know like every season lately, especially the last 4 or 5 years, they do like a Malcolm X hoodie, a Martin Luther King hoodie, something, you know, like last year they did the Dead Prez middle finger with the red, black, and green thing.
Oh yeah, the Yabasta, yeah.
Yeah, and all that shit is dope. But I always noticed that stuff never really sold out.
Never. I say the same thing, bro. Never sells out. Yeah. I'm like, it's not connected.
it ain't Supreme fault because they making it and they putting it out and they promoting it. And I'm like, salute to James and his whole team. But I'm just like, what if I did a whole sportswear brand based on that? You know what I mean? We'll see. It's like it was like a dope challenge because it was like, okay, I know how to. I've worked on stuff for other brands. I work with brands, my own brands, no vacancy. And I was like, it was kind of like a Houdini trick, like put myself in the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And get out. So, if I just do a brand like Black Jesus, Black Mary, Cotton Reefs, all kinds of stuff, can it survive? Can I make it happen? Because I thought back to, when I was a kid, like 40 Acres and a Mule, Fubu, Carl Kanai, and like those were brands that didn't have no Nike collabs. They didn't have nothing. They just had support of their community.
People. Yeah.
Like white people wasn't wearing Fubu like that. It was those guys got rich and made money and made a living with the support of Black people, and they kept that money. They were Black people making products, and then Black people bought and supported those products.
100%.
Yeah, so I want to try to. That's my dream, is just to have Denim Tears be supported by Black community, for Denim Tears to support the Black community. And to me, it's like, that's the goal.
Yeah, no, that's the energy. As we get into, this the sneaker, some of the inspirations behind that, where you at with it now, maybe from when you designed it. A lot has happened, in the world. So even the energy of, even it getting pushed up, and we'll talk about that in some. But first, I want to reference this quote. This quote from Nina Simone that I thought was just kind of pertinent to everything you were doing, and maybe kind of rap about that a taste. And the quote is as follows: it says, "An artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times." And I think with everything that you've been saying, just about your brand, how you want to position it, and also using it as a billboard for various things that you may want to talk about as a platform to raise money for various issues. That quote, it stands out. It stands out as a parallel to what you're doing and the products that we're seeing.
Yeah, Nina Simone, goes without saying, she's incredible. But not just her music, her interviews and,
Oh, no, her energy is unmatched.
Yeah. I just wanted to, end of the day, artist has to be true to themselves, So I can't knock anyone that doesn't reflect the times, because sometimes people want to reflect what they get going through, their family stuff or their
100%.
What's going on in their mind, their heart. But for me, I gotta speak in real time, and it's important, especially now, because I feel like with the way the world's become more and more consumerist, and it's like this is the number one vehicle for knowledge for kids, is clothing and music and stuff. It ain't books. Much as I love books and love New York Times and all that stuff, kids ain't reading it like that. Some are, but they're not, Cats wasn't even reading like that when I was coming up, and I'm 39, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, how can I you can't put a James Baldwin book or a Fanon book in a T-shirt, but you can make a T-shirt a bridge to that knowledge.
Exactly.
And, I try to do that in different ways and witty ways and satirical ways. You know, like even the church fan, right? It's like I'm doing the church fan because obviously people can relate. Like, you know, you grew up in the South, you go to a church, even the fan, it's titled on the website, no AC in the church. You know what I mean? The fan with the Black Jesus on it, it's about religion, but also it's about, well, how did they get us to be slaves for 400 years?
Yeah.
They've made us feel that it's okay because we're going to go to heaven and God loves us. You know what I mean? How do you convince people? You know, and it was like a mix of religion and also making us see them time as superior and like believing in a white Jesus. So then I blackwashed white Jesus. Like, I didn't even change his features to make him look black. He still has the features of a white man, and I blackwashed him. And that's a conversation. So it's not even that I'm saying Jesus is black and not. It's about conversation about the brainwashing used to control us when we were slaves. And that's why he's got the cotton reef, you know what I mean, as a crown of cotton. And then, you know, I keep playing and keep layering and massaging the iconography onto different things, like reusing the iconography to really dig home the message. You know, I'm not doing like a one and done pass on just a T and like, because like to answer your question and reflect the times is what's going on now is connected to what happened then.
Yep.
And we've never had a reconciliation about that within ourselves as a community and on a wider scale with America, you know?
Right.
You know, so
1,000%.
You know what I mean? I'm going to keep talking about it till something's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
You know, sometimes people are like, oh, you're talking about slavery and this, and it's cool. It's like, well, if I go to a hood and I see generational poverty, since, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where did it start at?
Where did it start? Exactly.
Yeah, where did it start? Well, motherfuckers just like, oh, I'm lazy. I don't want to work.
Exactly.
I don't want a job. I don't want this education. I don't want, you know? Because they try to do that with black people. They try to be like, well, look at Tremaine and look at Don C and look at this one, look at Easy. Why can't you be like them? And it's like, we're dudes that slip through the crack. You know, slip through the cracks. It's not set up for everyone to be a Tremaine.
Right.
And that's why I don't even have no ego about my supposed success, because I know, you know, there's a couple of spots and I slip through the cracks. You know, I had really good, really attentive, caring parents, and it taught me about self-education, and then also just some lucky things happen and this, that, and the third. But it's never like, yo, I'm better than all the dudes that are still in the hood. And like, I worked harder than them. There's a system that breaks people down. I'm not saying people aren't held accountable for their own action, because you are.
You are,
but,
100%. Yeah. But
it ain't simple as like, yo, just if you work hard, everything's gonna work out for you in America.
Exactly. Because if you hold individuals accountable, I mean, at some point, I mean, at the root of it, you also got to hold the system or these systems accountable for, you know, just how things are playing out. So I think that's also pertinent to understand that, you know, is like you said, like no ego. And there's, you know, it's a lot of like slip through the cracks energy, and you know, I think a lot of this work is about, you know, one day that's not the case anymore. Like in the moment, it still may seem like it's building up to something, but for sure, I feel like a lot of the work is being done now, which again, like you said, mirrors a lot of work that have been done in the past because so many things hadn't been reconciled. So, is dope to know the system, you know, as well as the individuals, and standing on that, like, oh yeah, now, you know what I mean, like, oh, slavery again. It's like, well, yeah, it's like, how can you escape it? You know, It's not. It's too big. It's much too big to kind of like skate around it. You know what I mean? Try to pick the nuances of it because that's that's partially the building blocks for this country, and not even and big partially in that way.
Yeah. So that's exactly, and that's the thing. It's like that's the whole thing with using the cotton iconography is like, cool, American Eagle, Stars and Stripes, put the motherfucking cotton up there too, because we built the country figuratively and literally, through our labor, and and that's the whole thing with the cotton, like, yeah, like that's an emblem. It's a serious emblem, and it's dark and it's powerful and it's deep. This one plant that we harvested gave this country its wealth, you know what I mean? And able to do all the things and that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, people want to say like, cool, you look at America now, it's not that old of a country compared to countries in Europe and the East, in Asia and Africa. It's not old at all. And you can't separate it from its beginnings.
Exactly.
It's like whatever Don T.
It's almost still in that point. It's almost still at the beginning points, you know what I mean? Where it's like, we kind of, slavery, you know what I mean? Or different things that you might see may not come about in the same way as it did then, you know what I mean? But, by and large, we still operating in a lot of those ways.
Yeah. I mean, even look at the California fires and the prisoners. Forget how much those guys are getting paid. And they're fighting fires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they went to jail, they did something, but they're slaves. You know what I mean? That's slave labor, Yeah. And there's a lot of versions of that in the jail system of people, mainly Black and Hispanic people.
Yeah.
Are getting paid pennies to do work, Yeah. Even if you look at America, even like you look at like, you go to New York, all the restaurants in New York, you go in the kitchen, it's Mexicans. I mean, they ain't getting paid right. You know what I mean? But that whole system, New York City's amazing restaurants, gastro system that everyone loves, 4-star restaurants, it's run by Mexicans. Trust me, they're not seeing 10% of what those restaurants are pulling in. To me, that's a form of slavery. I mean, they might not be getting hit with a whip, but maybe like
mentally,
you know what I mean? And there's so many examples of that, so many examples of that. So yeah, when like the way it's done has changed, exactly. but the shadow's still there. The shadow of slavery looms over America until there's a reconciliation, But only way to get that is ain't through a T-shirt, but it's through knowledge and voting and pressing leaders or creating the leaders. We need leaders that get into politics. That we need someone with a LeBron James or Virgil Abloh or like Don C, whoever, A-side mentality to go into politics. Because that's the problem. Like, politics is run by dinosaurs. Exactly. You know what I mean? And we need people with modern. We need like an Elon Musk type person to go and want to be the mayor of a city and figure out how to change the things. The same way we figuring out how can I create a brand and, how can I make a new sound, right? We need someone that's working with that vibration of creativity in politics. And we don't have that right now, And that's why we gotta vote long-term strategy to get to that point where we can get that type of leader, which, it's not available right now, but, I think if people could come up and want to be more than just a creative director or photographer. Nothing's wrong with those jobs.
For sure.
It became cool to do politics or something more. Cool to, be civically involved. And we're seeing that now with like all the voting t-shirts and all the t-shirts that came during like, this new civil rights movement. And you're seeing like the coolest thing you could do was actually help someone.
Yeah.
If that can stick, that's the coolest thing. That's cooler than being an NBA player, cooler than, having a Levi's collab is like helping your community, And it used to be like that because the Black Panthers was the coolest. Black Panthers was the coolest. They looked the coolest, and what they did was fighting for their community. Malcolm X was the coolest. Medgar Evers was the coolest. And something happened. And I think part of it's consumerism and our obsession with celebrity and sports and validation that then we forgot what we were about. In like 30 years or 40 years, a couple generations passed, and now we're here at this impasse. And, we got to reel it back in. It's not just about making them change the power structure. It's like taking it back and taking it forward because we had something during the first civil rights movement, Black people, and not just Black people, the women's suffragist movement, the, gay rights movement, so many movements at that time in the 70s and stuff. Had so much, and then something happened. Like, I don't know, it's like they gave us just a little bit, and we're like, cool, we got a bit. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then for the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, like literally going almost 4 decades, we kind of just like caught up on TV, caught up on the movies, caught up with sports, caught up with music. Caught up
in being middle class, kind of, you know what I mean? Or that aspiration to being that, you know what I mean? Which is kind of like, That's almost solely there for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you hit it on the nose.
Almost blind consumerism, you know what I mean?
Yep. And it became like, if I get this gold Rolex, that's like, I've made it, and it is righting the wrongs of everything my people have been through. And I know people aren't thinking on that level, because I wasn't thinking on that level when I got a Rolex, but I just know so that's the thing, I look at myself and be like, I thought me making it out of Jamaica, Queens was the advancement of our people, but it's not. If it's just every 10 years, one Tremaine makes it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? How many young Black men and women live in Jamaica, Queens?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Plenty.
So it's just like, it's got to be more than just like, oh, well, Michael Jordan's rich. Look, everything's kind of okay for Black people. Michael Jordan's rich. Or like, everything's okay for women. Look how this woman's doing. It's like, nah, it's like, that doesn't represent the whole. You know what I mean? It doesn't represent the whole. I represent, And I feel like that happened for a lot of years. Like, certain entertainers and musicians and artists were used by people that say that we're doing all right. Look at them. Well, that ain't the case. You know what I mean? That ain't the case.
No, not even. Not even. You know what I mean? And so, you know what I mean, on the topic of, you know what I mean, of voting, let me get into this a little bit. You know what I mean? Get everybody.
I don't even got my prayer yet. Lit.
You know what I mean? I wanted to do this, you know what I mean, just so, you know what I mean, everybody kind of see what's going on. And I'll preface it with saying, like, for Converse, before this, the American flag, just Chuck Taylor was just so, you know what I mean, wavy to me. Like, I thought, like, that's my favorite.
That was my favorite one.
My favorite one, like, you know what I mean, without a doubt, you know what I mean? And then this comes along, and it's like, oh, wait, like, you know what I mean? It's like we in a different ball game now. It's like, I don't, like, not even that, because I still think you know what I mean? I still think the red, white, and blue and all of that represents us just as much, you know what I mean? But
definitely.
This flip, you know what I mean, is crazy. And also I want to show, it's an ox version as well. You know what I mean? For anybody who likes anybody who likes high and low. Which, you know what I mean, I'm an overdoer, so I'll probably do both. Man, it's such an ill flip. And when I first saw it, I was like, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, bro is, you know what I mean? He taking it to that clip. And then when I saw the messaging behind it, you know what I mean? Where you were kind of, you know, not putting the pressure, you know what I mean? But a little bit, you know what I mean? On Nike, Converse, as it relates to, again, you know what I mean, talking about the reconciliation and, you know what I mean, maybe let's see what we could do to change these systems up. And you took power in that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, you know, until we start seeing some things uptick, you know what I mean, we're gonna hold off on these. Which, you know what I mean, I thought was like, I'm like, boom, that's a step in the right direction. Then to double down on it, and it's like, no, we're gonna move these up because we need to use these as a vehicle to talk about voting, you know what I mean, in its many different forms. So, you know what I mean, maybe just get into that, like maybe your thought process behind, you know, moving it up and, you know what I mean, the urgency, and, you know, and really getting to it.
Yeah, you know, when those three murders, you know what I mean, they represent every murder that's happened, you know, by the hands of the power structure of America, the corrupt parts of the power structure of America, you know, Breonna, Ahmaud, and George. And then I saw this outflow of money and like Instagram posts and stuff from corporations. I was just like, I've seen this before. I've seen. It's not just about Nike or Converse. I've seen Fortune 500 companies donate money. I've seen them post things about, you know, how things should be in the world, and things don't change. So, but this is the first time that I've seen that where I'll just speak for myself, where I'm in a position where I can actually conversate with some of these companies, not all of them. So at the current time, I had a, you know, Converse shoe in the works, and I was just like, and I just thought, like, I was just thinking about the kids, man. Like kids really look up to us, man. They really. I read the DMs. I don't answer them all, but I read the DMs. You know, obviously before COVID, when I was in the streets, the kids stopped me and talked to me. I see them stop and talk to my brothers and sisters. And I just seen, for me, I just had to show them you can risk it. Not risk, because that ain't me risking it all. Like, you know, George Floyd risked it all, like, by having a, you know, whatever, you know, by being involved with that cop and they lost his life. So I ain't risk it all. You know, Ahmaud risked it all running through a neighborhood, you know, so just to like, be like, hey man, you know, I know y'all donating $100 million, but where's it really going? You know? And not like they embezzling the money or nothing like that, but like, is it really going to get to the people that need it? And, you know, who's deciding where the money's going, and, you know, is this going to be a trend, or is this going to be like how y'all living out your corporate lives as a brand, helping people of color, because the systematic racism is real. You know what I mean? And you know, that's why I put up that post. And, you know, for me, especially the shoe with those colors, I just couldn't not say nothing, you know? And I just felt, you know, some people are like, oh, why didn't you hit them up internally? And I was like, because I think I needed to teach the kids a lesson
Mm-hmm.
The best way I could teach them is risk something.
Mm-hmm.
So if the kid, so there's some kid I saw like, man, he could have lost his deal maybe, but he wanted to get this point out into the world. Whereas if it happens internally, no one ever sees it, you know?
Exactly.
You know, and I don't know, something overwhelming feeling, just like I just felt that's what had to be done. You know, I had to be like, you know, because to me, Instagram is bullshit. Or happen 99% of the time. I was like, I can make it not bullshit right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And posted it, and then like, you know, Converse, they reached right out to me, and we had great conversations from the very beginning. And you know, the shoes were supposed to come out in February, and they were supposed to have a different activation that was also civic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know, they pushed it up at their expense and fast tracked them to get made, and had them they got here in time. And you know, all the marketing money is going towards voting, you know, voting education. You know, we worked with Hank Willis Thomas, the artist, to create this triptych of these three posters that are going to be put in the swing states, 4 or 5 swing states, LA and New York. It's just like very, we referenced W.E. Du Bois' book, and it's just these graphics, couple graphics, and it's just about pushing people to vote and knowing the importance of their vote. You know, there's 24 million young voters, you know what I mean, that didn't have the chance, weren't able to vote in the last election because they weren't old enough. So that's jumped people that were like, I don't know, 16 or 14 or whatever. There's 24 million now more people that can vote, just to show. And then showing, like, doing some research, you see some of these states were decided by 20,000, 40,000 votes, 100,000 votes. Y'all really got control, and it's like, yo, voting does count. They wouldn't try to rig elections or do gerrymandering if it didn't count. They wouldn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So anyway, back to the Converse stuff. It's like, we were just like, the shoes got to come out, and it's about voting, and it's about owning the country, owning your future. And, you know, I'm donating the profits from, you know, my cell on my site to blackvoters.org, and For Freedoms. Because if all black people vote, unfortunately, the system should just care about what people want in general. I want to say that first. But the way the system works, imperfect system, if you don't vote, if you don't do the census, it's like you don't exist. And it's harder for them to say you don't exist when all of us come out and vote.
Yeah.
And when you all come out and vote, these politicians are going to lobby to do what makes us happy because they want to get into there. And that's the game. And that's something else too. And that's what I'm going to continue to do after this election, is try to educate people on how this political game really works, politics really works, and how voting really works. And, you know, because there are communities in America that get what they want because they vote.
No, 100%.
You know, and so yeah, the whole thing was to get these shoes out before the election, and it's happening. You know, they're coming out Thursday, and then Converse the week after, they're dropping more of them, more widespread. Mm-hmm. And I feel good about it. I always feel like I could do more, and I'm gonna keep trying to do more. And but it's been fun to, like, the hardest thing is to make something meaningful out of commerce. Mm-hmm. You know, I really think on this one, myself and Converse, I think we've achieved that. You know, I think this is like, you know, and then, like, you know, the donating, it just came from, like, the money just came from a conversation I had with David Hammonds, because the inspirations for the shoes is like David Hammonds' Pan-African flag from 1990, Marcus Garvey's Pan-African flag that David Hammonds was inspired by in 1930, I believe, or 1920. Marcus Garvey created that flag.
Yeah.
So it's and then there's this rock in my neighborhood. I grew up in North Side, Jamaica, Queens, St. Albans, and there's this rock that these two women in the 70s, they painted it red, black, and green, the Liberty Rock, and it used to be a World War II memorial, and they fought the city to turn it red, black, and green, and the city was fighting it back. And then people in the neighborhood came together and protested, and they got their way, and they turned this rock red, black, and green, and they moved the World War II memorial somewhere else. So that was like a little meaning, micro for macro, of like when the community comes together, you can get change. Mm-hmm. And I used to pass by that rock every day. LL Cool J had that rock on his album cover. He had that song, Hey Level Boys the Men, it was on the rock. I seen all kinds of stuff happen around that rock. Really bad things, seen good things. And that was my first experience with those colors back in 1991. You know what I mean? It was when we moved to that neighborhood, just seeing that rock every day, driving by it with my mom, walking by it with my friends, on the school bus, going by it. And, you know, so it's a homage to those three things. And like, but yeah, man, you know, like as far as the donating the money, it's like I talked to David Hammonds, and, you know, he was just like, yo, I just trust you to do the right thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And yeah, so this one is just like, just supporting this movement of Black people, people of color voting, and showing up and making our voices heard. You know, I don't know a better way, non-cliched way to say it, so I just gotta say it that way, making our voices heard. Mm-hmm. You know, and I see it now, because even now with some of the homies, I be getting DMs like, yo, man, voting don't matter, or and you're saying to vote for this person. I'm not saying to vote for no one. I'm saying educate yourself and choose the candidate, not just the presidential. Educate yourself on everyone that's on the ballot and make a choice for yourself. Mm-hmm. I can live with that. No matter how it go, if people actually came out, voted, educated themselves, and made their choices, then that's the will of the country, will of the people. Uh-huh. But when people aren't coming out to vote and things ain't going how we want it and we complaining, that ain't it. Yeah. That ain't it. And I can't blame no politician more than I blame ourselves if we don't come out. You know what I mean? Because the people, trust me, the people that we post memes of and say, oh, this person's horrible, this person's racist, they come out and vote, though. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
They vote.
No, 100%.
they vote.
100%. You know? You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's that idea of maybe seeing a win before. You know what I mean? You know, when you see, like, I always had this thing like about representation. You know what I mean? And if you know what I mean, I think people are more inclined to believe in it, you know what I mean, and not be like disillusioned and feel like, oh man, this voting shit is kind of whatever. You know what I mean? You got to see like there has to be like some silver lining, I guess, you know what I mean, for lack of better terms, to where it's like you can make the connection to, you know what I mean, your vote, your choices, you know what I mean, and how that's reflected, you know what I mean, in your community. You know what I mean, whatever your community may be, you know what I mean. For some people, depending on how they work, that could be the global community at large, or, you know what I mean, you know, whatever it is, it could just be, you know what I mean, your neighborhood or whatever. But I think those people that you're talking about, that, you know what I mean, is like, oh yeah, we post memes, and, you know what I mean, like, they might be a piece of shit, but they voting, you know what I mean? But it's like they've tried it before, and they've seen, you know what I mean? They've seen the power in it, and they've seen how it could work for them, you know what I mean? And, you know, okay, matter or don't matter, you know what I mean? Because sometimes even myself, it's like I toy with, you know what I mean? They're like, man, this shit is a rap. Like, you know what I mean? What are we even doing? And, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's a struggle to be like, you know what I mean, to give in. But, you know, maybe that's something that we need to do, at least just to, you know what I mean? It's like you don't know until you try, you know what I mean? But like you said, as far as like not even just focusing on the president, but, you know what I mean, like really what's going on, really who's on the ballot, and, you know what I mean? And not necessarily trying to make that choice for somebody else, because it's like when you're in the box, you in the booth, it's just you. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta figure out what that is for you. And you know what I mean? I agree. Like if it's the will of the country, you know what I mean, of whatever the turnout, you know what I mean, if there was a turnout with us showing up, then you know what I mean, like you said, like you could live with that, you could rock with that. It's not a
but I can't live when I know like like an example, when Obama voted in my hood, when Obama ran the first time, record-breaking numbers at the polling site on Farmers Boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
Never seen people come out the vote like that. The second time he ran, less record-breaking, people still came out.
Mm-hmm.
The next election, Hillary versus Trump, tumbleweed rolling through the PS 118, the school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, so it's like, how much, it's like if you don't take out the trash and the house stink because you didn't take the trash out.
Yeah. Yeah. Facts.
Now, if you take out the trash and the house still sinking, then you could be like, yo, there's a dead rat in the wall. What's going on?
Yeah.
But if you didn't even, but if we take out the trash, we all come out and vote, and then things are still twisted up, then we could be like, okay, there's another conversation that needs to be had. There's some other, we got another way to get things fixed. But we've never, ever, ever come out in solidarity and voted and making our voices heard. How can we say it doesn't work?
Mm-hmm.
We see it working for other communities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my whole thing, and like, so the house stinks, but did we take out the trash that last election? No. No one showed up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was a close election too,
Mm-hmm. No,
so what does that say, And we got caught up in lack of education, like even like the whole Cambridge Analytica thing, I posted about it, and they created this algorithm to part of the algorithm was it found voters, black voters, that were on the fringe of voting.
Mm-hmm.
So based on what you put out in the social media, what you're Googling, what you're reading, because, they can see everything through our phones and our computers.
Oh, yeah. No,
they can tell if you're on the fringe. And if you were on the fringe, they targeted your Facebook and your Instagram with all this anti-Hillary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's brainwashing. That's propaganda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why are they doing that? Why would Trump's campaign pay that money and hire them to do all that if votes don't count? Why waste the money?
Right.
And I didn't get, and like there's the documentary that the BBC did about that. And, this British dude, he's going through the hood in like Wisconsin and all places talking to people and letting them know like, hey, do you remember getting all this stuff and that? And they're like, yeah. Yeah, that did play a part in why I didn't vote for her and the third. And it's like, that's the okie doke, man.
Super.
That's the okie doke. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because end of the day, and this is part of education I want to continue about the political process, is like these current all set of politicians, they're all dirty, right? They all got dirt under the nails. Which one has the least dirt, or which one is more viable? Which one will bend more towards the will of the people? So that's what people got to ask themselves. Do you think Trump will be more inclined to do what's needed for people of color, or Biden? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people like to be like, oh, but Biden signed this bill that put, black people in. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying in 2020, everyone choose for themselves. Who do you think is going to be, we can press more to get what we need for us for the next 4 years? Which candidate? That might be who you want to vote for. And which candidate should alleviate some of the pain that we're going through for the next 4 years. And then in the next election, hopefully we can inspire a new type of politician to come into the scene to help change things, And that's the thing I really want to educate and get people on. It's not about good versus evil and like this person didn't do nothing bad and this one did and that's what you should vote for. That ain't the case. We gotta live in reality. Mm-hmm. And the powers that be, they dig up people's past and quotes to influence how you vote in the now. And people should be aware of that and then make a choice,
Yeah.
But, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. No. Yeah, 100%. Man, this for one, this you know what I mean. It's been an awesome, you know what I mean. It's been an awesome talk. You know what I mean. It's been
Yeah, it's
super
great, man.
dope. You know what I mean. Super dope to rap with you. You know what I mean.
I
Pick your
knew it was
brain
gonna
about
be a
some of this shit.
you know, when we had the pre-thing, you know, when we talked on the phone like a month ago, like you know, letting us know what we could be talking about. It's great, man. Really good.
Yeah, no, I love, bro. You know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. I feel like it's a lot of work, you know what I mean, to be done. And I feel like, you know what I mean, what you're doing and plenty of other people, especially in this moment, you know what I mean, are really using their voices, you know what I mean, and their platforms to help educate, you know what I mean, all of us. Because, you know, that's a big part of it is the lack of education, you know what I mean, of simple things, just about, you know, how policies are made and like you said, like the census, you know what I mean, and what that really can do for a community or how not maybe showing up for that can hinder a community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like what you were saying earlier on we need an Elon Musk sort of mind in politics. I think we're getting to that point because what I'm seeing is so many people using that sort of creativity. I'm seeing so many people using the creativity that it took to make, you know what I mean, a dope streetwear brand. And, you know what I mean, they're dissipating that energy in the form of just civic duty, you know what I mean, across the board. I don't want to be specific because it's people doing so many things. And, man, I feel like that's the, you know what I mean, I feel like that's the wave. I feel like it is definitely more than gives hope. It really provides evidence, you know what I mean, I think of what the
Proof of
future,
concept.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean, of what the future holds. You know what I mean? And that's yeah, and I feel like not that that's all we can ask for, but you know what I mean, I think that's a big because we're not gonna be here forever. So all we could do is do our part while we're here, you know what I mean, and sort of see things grow and progress. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, that's where we at. That's where we at with collaborations, you know what I mean, with talking to, you know what I mean, with talking to corporations and, you know what I mean, getting everybody on board, you know what I mean? So it's like, nah, like, man, this thing it's not a trend, you know what I mean, like what we're going through as people, you know what I mean, as Black people specifically. This is, you know what I mean, this is real. This is American, you know what I mean, society at hand, you know what I mean, and it's ill that we finding ways to disseminate the information and deal with it in a real way.
No, it's got to be a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Give a moment. It's got to be a lifestyle.
Yeah. No, 100%. Well, man, I think you know what I mean. Anything else you know what I mean that you want to get off your chest as it revolves at least what you got going on, the collaboration. You know what I mean. You know, we waiting for outside to open back up. Get some of them some of that no vacancy energy. You know what I mean? Again,
Yeah.
I caught y'all in New York a couple years ago. It was live.
Oh, word? Dope.
Yeah,
man. I definitely miss hearing music out at night and dancing and stuff. You know, ASAP playing music. Nah, man. You know, I'm just like focused on this current moment right now, and just grateful that I'm alive in these times, as crazy as they are.
Yeah, for sure.
And grateful to play a small part in trying to change things that in a way that are better for everyone, not just a small group of people. And I'm gonna keep trying to connect creativity with civic duty. I think that's a really good way to live. Helping other people, you know. So that's
100%.
Trying to do my best to stay on that path and like, you know, continue to try to, you know, do my best to make dope things, but seeing like, you know, community is the highest level. I think community, civic duty, and taking care of people and helping people that are less fortunate, weaker, maybe that's the highest, that's the like best art you could become great at, is, you know, helping your community and making things healthy, like having a healthy community, you know, people, everyone, you know, and not perfect, healthy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, bad things still happen. Like healthy people get cancer, healthy people die, but the moments that they're living up until the end, they're healthy and it's the most as positive as it can be. And that's the same thing for education and society. It doesn't mean if you read a book, nothing bad can happen to you, or if you vote, nothing bad's going to happen, or the person you vote for is not going to do anything bad. But it's just a healthier way to live. And it's giving the dice a better chance of rolling in your direction, you know?
100%. Yeah, it's about this, it's the energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know? So that's the thing I'm going to stay on. And, you know, I appreciate y'all for reaching out to do this talk and, you know, supporting the drop and stuff. Appreciate it. You know? Shout out to you, Dawn C, and everyone that works, you know, V, everyone that works with RSVP, man. I appreciate it.
Love, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, we big fans of everything, you know what I mean? I feel like, excited for the future, you know what I mean? Definitely excited for this drop, you know what I mean? And just getting the info out there, getting people out there to, you know what I mean, not only in this election vote, you know what I mean, but just understanding their power in general, you know what I mean, when it comes to just voting every day, you know what I mean? You know, where you putting your energy, what you eat.
When you buy something, you make a vote.
100% instantly. It's like, no, I don't want this, I want that. You know what I mean? And
there's a lot of different ways to vote. You
100%. Yeah. No, and I think, and I feel like, you know, on that note, you know what I mean, we could wrap it up. Again, I appreciate you, you know what I mean? This was live. Congrats again, you know what I mean, on the drop, everything you're doing. And you know what I mean, just keep pushing.
Thank you, man. Same to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all and everything y'all doing too. Take care.
Yes, sir. Peace and love, bro.
Love.
Yeah.